We are going to talk about how you would possibly describe the writing the story of your life. How would you divide it into chapters?
Wow.
Deep.
Kind of hard to think about how you divide it into chapters.
Well, it
I
doesn't
guess-
have to be like 15 chapters. I mean, if you have 4 chapters, okay. You can have one specific chapter of the most important part here. You know, it doesn't matter.
I would say, if it helps, I would say chapter 2 would probably be 12 years old moving out to California.
Yeah, the first part would be early childhood, second
Yeah.
part,
Chapter 1 would be,
and chapter 2, move to California. Chapter 3 would be wife, chapter 4 would, well, wife, mother, the rest of the life. Chapter 4, we don't know what that is. Yeah, that is gonna be the finale, which I'm looking forward to, so. Chapter 4 is the big one, then if we're going into chapters, so.
Oh, so you only want to do 4 of them? Okay. Explain a little bit about what your finale looks like.
It looks like heaven. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
So explain a little bit about what your heaven looks like.
Well, my heaven looks like, this is my version of it. I've talked to God about it. A cottage with, by, kind of like a Thomas Kincaid.
I was just thinking that. And in fact, I was just, back to your last response, with your very first memory, I can see the correlation between that and your affinity towards Thomas
You know, that
Kincaid.
dawned on me when I was saying that too,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so that would be it. And it's gonna be in a beautiful setting, a garden with every possible kind of colored flower. Everything, you know. I know it's gonna be colors that we have never seen before, you know. So.
Right.
So that's it, and then being close, I plan on going and having a cup of coffee with God every day.
Mhm.
You realize that's caffeine and it's an addiction and you probably
It
shouldn't.
doesn't
be doing-
matter, he made caffeine, and I'm sure that we'll have a cup. And
Okay.
it may be caffeine-free in some lovely way.
Okay.
But I know we're gonna have a chat every day. You can go in and out, visit with him. I love that thought.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of with you on that. My biggest thing is I want to be able to just crawl up on his lap and just snuggle in.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the next thing. And then, all the people that I would like to meet up there. Oh, man, can you imagine the people you can talk to and, amazing amount of people.
Do you think
Yeah.
do you think you'll meet the ones that you really just don't even know? I think I
Oh,
guess I
yes.
always thought you were going to be surrounded just
And
by
you'll know 'em.
people that you know.
You'll know him because, when Jesus was on the mountain and did that transfiguration, and Peter and I think it was John was with him, he transfigured to show them how that his spiritual nature. And here came Moses and Elijah. And so the first thing Peter said, you know, he's all always gung-ho. He said, Lord, there's Moses and Elijah. Should I make some tents for them or something so we can all kind of have a good time together, basically?
Wow.
And so he knew who they were. We'll know who everybody is, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okie doke. So
Yeah.
just the 4 chapters is all you want to just?
That's good enough for me, because those are 4 important chapters, and they
Yeah.
include a lot of territory.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What, if anything, would you have done differently in your life?
I would have listened more to God, and I would have followed him closer, and I would have controlled my temper better with everybody and everything, and I would have not been so impatient with people. But that was not in my nature at that time, so. As Corey knows, I never suffered fools lightly, ever. And it's hard for me to do that now, but, you know, the older I get, the more I understand that that's just the way people are, you know.
Suffered fools lightly.
Yeah, that means
You don't tolerate
if
stupid.
somebody doesn't get something, and I still have a problem with that, if they don't get what they're doing to themselves,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would have patients that would come back in for the same thing over and over and over and over. Fix me. Go back out, get themselves in the same condition, come back in. Fix me, you know. That kind of stuff where they never get it. They never get why they're in such problems in their life, you know. They don't get that they're the cause of it and that they need to do things to fix it, and I have a real problem with that, and I still do, and I'm working on it. But Corey knows exactly what I'm talking about, because he's the same way. And that way we're just alike, yeah.
Well, you've talked about the differences, or the similarities that you have with Corey and then also with Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Am I just dad?
No.
Other than we look alike, what did I pick up
Your
from you?
attitude on motherhood's the same thing. Your attitude on family's the same thing. And in some ways, I wish I was more the way you were with your family.
How
'Cause
so?
You were good with your kids. You know, I mean, you knew, you just really, you raised them right. And I always appreciate that. I had a lot of things I could have done differently. But,
Well, I raised him right because I learned from the best. So,
I don't know about that, but,
well, what else did I have to learn from?
well, that's true. But.
You know, I mean, yeah, you have
Anyway,
instincts, but
yeah,
you know, how many
so
times did I call
that
you being
and-
like, Mom, I don't know what I'm doing. Mom, what am I supposed to do here? Not only with just my kids, but also with my own life, you know, so.
Well, anyway, that's what I learned from you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so what do you know now that you wish you'd known when you were young?
I wish I'd have listened to my father when he told me, when we got in and out of the car, when I was taken into the doctors, and he'd say, try to get in and try to get out, and I'd say, come on, you know, get in, we can get going, we gotta get going. Wait till you get old, he'd say, wait till you're 90 years old. And every time I do that now, I think about him, and I think, I wish I'd have listened and been a little more patient with him, you know, but, so that's the kind of things you learn as you get older. you know.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And like I said, to be able to control my temper more, be more patient with people and not judge them so harshly, you know. It's hard not to, but
Yeah, the judging thing, I tell you what, that seems to take over almost everybody's life.
yeah,
So,
I guess, I don't know, must make us all feel better or something to judge somebody else.
Kinda.
I know.
I don't know, I feel bad when it comes to, I try and revert it back to myself, you know, when I'm thinking about something negative or judging somebody, I'm like, well, but how would I have handled this differently, you know? And I can't say I'm any better kind of thing. I think we're all human beings and that's just what we're due, but what have you thrown away in your life that you wish you hadn't?
Thrown away,
Comic books.
the comic.
Strawberry shortcake dolls?
I had some baseball cards that would have been absolutely worth some money. Because I collected
Yeah.
baseball cards when I was younger. And that, and I don't know, I think I threw away a lot of time, you know, that I could have been putting in on earlier in my life on achieving what I wanted to achieve as far as education, you know, because I thought I had to do my own thing instead of doing that when I was young. And then I wished I wasn't as old as I was to remember things when I did finally get around to doing it, you know.
Oh, isn't that always the case?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so nothing materialistic.
No, mostly just time, yeah,
Gotcha.
wasted. Wasted.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what we do, though. We don't realize what kind of time we have, you know. So, what have you held on to that's important, and why is it important?
Oh, family. And I've held on to the values my mother taught me. I think I've held on to my sense of humor. That, we know where I got that one.
That was Grandpa.
Oh,
100%.
yeah. From my grandpa, your grandpa, my dad. And I think I've held on, well, so far, I've held on to cognitive stuff, mostly. No, that's important.
Yeah,
Try
that's
to
important.
hang on to that as long as you can.
Right,
That's
yeah.
important, but it may not always be there, but You know, my trick now is there's so much information up there. It's like a slow computer. So when I can't remember a name or a word, I'll say, take it over and throw it out to me when you get it. And it always happens. The subconscious will go in there and work and find it like in all the files, and it throws it out. And then, oh yeah, oh, you say the word, and there it is, you know.
You've really been watching too much of Inside Out.
But it's seriously true.
Yeah.
If you try it, it really will work. And I know when you're older, it certainly does.
Well, I just rely on Google. You know, what is that? Yeah.
You can't. There's some memories that you can't do that Google. You have
True.
to. It has to go back in there.
Right. Yeah.
To get.
So, anything materialistic that you held on to?
Oh, let's see. Well, I've had that coffee table, that end table, and that and table over there since I was pregnant with Corey. So that's what, 39 years? That's a long time. And I've had that boom box since 1990 something. That Corey just fixed and was able to, that I can use the tape player in now. And let's see. what
Wasn't
else.
that coffee table the thing that Corey smacked his?
No, that was the big coffee table
Oh.
we got rid of, but that one, yeah. And I don't know, shoot, all kinds of stuff, you know. Mostly, well, dumb things like clothes you never wear.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a closet full.
Yeah, you know, never wear them. Shoes you never wear,
Mhm.
and because they're there and you're gonna keep them because they're mine, it's my stuff.
Right.
I'm hanging on to it.
Okay.
So,
Okay. What junk have you held on to and why?
the clothes that I don't wear.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of kitchen stuff, you know, that you think
Yeah.
you need.
Yep.
I got rid of a lot of it, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And pictures of people, I don't even know who they are.
I hate that.
You know, and people send you pictures of their family and their kids and stuff, and you look at them like, who the heck is that? I don't know who that is, you know.
Right.
So,
Oh, the things we have to think we
yeah,
have.
yeah, I know.
Over time, how have you changed the way you look at life/people?
Now, I think, I always say that I went along with what Roseanne said about I'm a really good judge of people, and that's why I don't like none of them.
Yep.
But I think that's changed because when I was younger, that's what it was, and I think now I'm trying to be a little more tolerant of people, trying, not always getting there. But I've changed in that area, mellowed a little bit maybe.
Well, Chrissy
More
gets that from you. This is why she works with animals. She says she just can't tolerate people. I wondered where that came from because I am a people person. So.
That's another thing I always liked about you, because I don't mind people, but I can sure do without.
Well, then on the flip side of that, I would love to be able to enjoy my alone time, and I don't. I mean, I don't have that ability to, you know, be able to sit and just enjoy me. I'd rather be me with a group of people, you know what I mean? So,
I'll give you a little clue on why I'm like that. Because when I was a kid, we had 7 kids in that small house. We had 2 bedrooms upstairs for everybody to sleep in. I would have a bed, sleeping soundly as a kid. My brothers would come up and say, hey, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. My friend wants to stay over. Why don't you go sleep on the couch, Karen, so you can have the bed? And every time I'd have to go down and sleep on the stinking couch.
and you never told him no?
Well, I couldn't. They literally picked me up and put me on the couch. So I might as well just get up and go, you know.
Right.
So, and then their friends would be there all asleep, and most of them, you know, was on here, you know. So they were pretty much blasted, and then you just feel squeezed in, you know, where you can't stand. I get claustrophobia from it, I think. So I spent all my time outside as much as I could, except in the winter time, and I think that's where my love of freedom came from. Not being squished together with all, and then my dad would always bring home 30 people every Sunday. They'd all come down to visit my dad. And we'd have,
Wow.
we'll stay for dinner. You know, Helen will fix it, and that was my mother's name. She'll fix you, we'll fix it, we'll have dinner, we'll just, you know, water it down if we have to. We'll water the soup down, we'll make it go, you know. And I met a lot of interesting characters that way,
Yeah.
but,
And you're not exaggerating about the
not
30?
exaggerating, no, I'm not exaggerating about
Wow.
that. They may come in different times, but a lot of them would be there all together, nothing but, and he loved to argue. They'd argue in the backyard, they'd argue in the dining room, they'd argue wherever they could, and, or they'd go off and ride around somewhere and come back. And then by that time, they were really arguing, because
Right.
when they were driving around, they were all having an imbibing, you know, as well, so, oh, boy.
Was it
Wow.
a friendship argument, like a,
Yeah, it was just like their opinions,
yes,
yeah.
Debating.
Yeah, be like politics, how you put something together, how to raise a chicken, how do you do this to an animal, you know, all kinds of, how do you raise them, how do you, that was always something.
it's one of my favorite things to do because you get other people's opinions on one particular topic, you know?
Yep,
And I'm just the opposite. It's one of my things I avoid. I don't, yeah, I don't want to, I mean, I don't mind hearing somebody else's opinion, but I'm not going to debate to where your opinion is less important as mine.
Oh no, yeah, that's not what I do. I want to hear somebody else's opinion to see if it's a thought I didn't think of.
well, that's a good way to approach it.
Right.
Yeah.
I always did it through competition,
See, yeah, and I can't do that.
competitive, I want to get the one up on them, you know, and always thinking of what you're gonna say, you don't even really
I do the same thing, but try to do it in more of a friendlier way. Well, if you do that, then what about this, this, and this? Have you thought about that? Because at that point, I'm just thinking at the same
Yeah.
time. But anyways, I'm digressing.
Well,
Sorry.
and then if he wasn't arguing, he was arm wrestling with everybody. So then they had to get the arm wrestling in there, and it was something else. My friends, when we'd have a few parties, you know, for Halloween, or they'd come over, he was always very entertaining.
Oh, I can
He
imagine.
could juggle, and he did something, he could stand on his head. I never could get
Grandpa?
Oh, yeah, he was good at it. And then he did something with the broom where he would go around and around on the ceiling with the broom, and I don't know what he was doing with that, but it did something that was fantastic. I don't know what it was.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I enjoy my alone time, because I had way too much socialization
Together time,
forced
yeah.
on me, yeah.
Gotcha. What advice did your grandparents or parents give you that you remember the best?
I had one grandparent.
Wait, I was gonna say, wait, on that note, I want to hear one from each.
From each
One from grandparents and one from parents.
advice. Well, I guess my granddad was, he was just a friend, you know, and I would go when he was staying with us, I'd go everywhere with him, and he would inform me of things. I'd ask him things, you know, he'd give me answers to things, and I don't know. I guess he didn't give out advice too much. He kind of didn't do that, you know, but he would, if you asked him a question, he'd tell you an answer, and from that you could arrive at advice, I guess.
Okay.
And my mom and dad, my mom always said, you know, try to be good, try to watch your manners, try to be proper and all this stuff, you know, and my dad would be,
Find humor in whatever you can
Yeah.
find humor in.
Yeah. go for it. It was his opinion.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think the one thing that really sticks out in my head about, I mean, not that this is an interview about me, but just something that I've always remembered is when you had told me when I was just pregnant with Chrissy, and I kept saying, you know, if it's a handicapped child, there's no way I could take care of it. Well, then you said, what makes you so much more perfect than that child? So that, in my eyes, is how I have done what I've done for the last
Yeah.
13,
True.
15 years, is I've looked at everybody as a human being. in comparison to looking at them with whatever disability they have.
That's excellent.
And
I'm glad
so-
you learned that.
Yeah, and it's actually rubbed off on other people as well.
Mhm.
And as a matter of fact, there was one of my coworkers that were there. There was a situation at work that was an argument going on because I was driving the afternoon route, so it was a change of routine, and they didn't like it. So they started bickering amongst them, and I had to go over and stand in front of them, and I was, looking at the one girl that was just about ready to just flip a gasket, and I said, you need to calm down, you need to breathe. And I kept telling her to breathe, and I kept telling her what was gonna happen, and what she was gonna get to do, and how she just needed to make sure she was able to calm down, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe. She was able to handle that, she went and she, went elsewhere and was able to just, get her quiet time and relax. I turned around and looked at the other one that was fighting with her, and I said, that's not okay, that's not how you handle things, but I talked to him just like this. I walked away and I had a coworker look at me, she said, you just handled that absolutely amazing, you are so good at your job.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's just,
You sure learned that one, didn't you?
yeah, it was a really
Mhm.
life lesson that I had learned, and thank you for
Mhm.
pointing that out, So yeah, it's amazing some of the things that we can pick up on and the people that are influential in our lives.
One more.
One more? All right, final question. I'm just gonna pick a good one. Well, this is probably about the best one. If you could write a message to each of your children and grandchildren and put it in a time capsule for them to read 20 years from now, what would you write to each? Have fun. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
How about you just
Saved what I'd write.
to Susan?
Oh, to you?
Mhm.
Oh, well, I guess I would just tell you how much I enjoy being your mother and how I hope that your life takes a real good direction and that you find all kinds of happiness and that you've arrived at a place you want to be.
This
And
is
that you're-
this is a time capsule, so she's gonna be
20 years
opening
from
it-
now.
Yep,
Uh-huh,
20
yeah.
years from now.
That's why
Okay.
I would be saying that,
Yep.
that I hope all that would have happened to you by then, and that you're a grandmother, and that I hope your grandchildren appreciate you as much as they should, and just that I hope that you have good memories of relationship.
Yeah, there won't be anything but good memories. What would you tell my kids?
I would tell them that I love them very much and that they've been a real joy. And, oh gosh, I don't want to start doing this. This is ridiculous. That they're good kids and they have accomplished a lot and they're really, I'm proud of them. So, I
Thank
did not
you.
want to start doing this.
And I didn't think I was going to either, so great. I love you.
I love you too.
Thanks.
Oh, I hate that. I
know.
I promised myself I was not gonna do that.